this is Sean McGowan for Acoustic Guitar Magazine. In this weekly workout, we're going to take a look at a bunch of different exercises to help synchronize your hands, your picking hand and your fretting hand. So let's dive right in with example 1. This example features a chromatic exercise to just kind of get the fingers warmed up and the pick connected to the string. And it's important about example 1 is that there's one rest, a quarter note rest on beat 3 here, if you're doing this in 3/4 time. And the point of that is to develop this sort of momentum and then rest. So you've got basically, action and then rest, action and then rest. And I think it's important to start off with a warm-up or an exercise with those two balancing out before we just do constant velocity exercises, which will be in example 2. So here's example 1. Here we go. 1 and 2 and 3 and rest. Of course you can double these up, but only go as fast as you can play cleanly with good tone. So just gradually increase your setting on the metronome. Example 2 is the same exercise, but now with constant velocity, not taking a break. So here it is. 3 and 4 and Example 3 takes the two first examples a step further by crossing strings and then adding, breaking up the fretting hand a little bit in the 3rd and 4th bars. So let's give this a shot. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and a little quicker. 1, 2, 3 and Example 4 is another variation on this theme. We start off with the same chromatic movement in the first measure, and then measures 2 and measures 4 alternate between a fretted note and an open string, which is really nice to synchronize the fretting hand with basically fretting down a note and then alternating that with an open string. So here we go. Example 4. 3 and 4 and Okay, this last example for week 1, example 5, does the same sort of chromatic motion that we've been working on in the previous examples. However, this time we add a 16th note speed burst while we cross the strings. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, and Okay, in week 2, we're going to mix things up a little bit. The first example for this week, example 6, works on some chromatic motion, but this time alternating the fingers on the fretting hand. So instead of just going 1, 2, 3, 4 ascending or 4, 3, 2, 1 descending, we mix up different finger combinations. And in the text of this article you can read there's all kinds of variations that you can come up with. Example 6 does 2 ascending variations and 2 descending variations. So let's jump in with it. Here we go. Example 6. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and those are really good to start gaining some independence with the fingers on the fretting hand while the picking hand just keeps going. Example 7 now adds another element of challenge for the picking hand. We're crossing strings now across 3 strings, so this is a really fun exercise. Here's example 7. 3 and 4 and Example 8 takes this one step further by skipping strings. So we have the same sort of chromatic motion, but now skipping over a string and string crossing. So here's example 8. 3 and 4 and right, example 9 features some triplets with some string skipping, and there are a couple of different ways that you can pick this. You can use strict alternate picking throughout, so these are using open triads, which create a little bit more of a challenge. So you can try alternate picking every string, so down, up, down, etc. Or you can try directional picking, which is what I prefer in playing this type of example a little faster, which on the 2 adjacent strings would both be downstrokes, down, down, and then followed by an up. That kind of motion. So here's example 9. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and Okay, in week 3, we're going to try to make some musical examples out of these exercises. And chromaticism can be a great effect in your solos and developing some lines. In example 10, the challenge here is playing 5 notes on one string. So your fretting hand slides in and out of position with the index finger or the pinky. And then it's a little bit of a challenge for the picking hand because now you're doing an odd grouping of 5 on a string. Both of these examples, examples 10 and 11 for week 3, feature a possible line that you could play over a C minor chord. So here's example 10. 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 and... Example 11 takes the concept of the speed burst that we've been working on before and alternates between the 16th note grouping and some half notes. And this also works over a C minor chord, but there's quite a bit of chromaticism in here. So let's give it a roll here. 1 and 2 and... One more time, coming in on the 3. 1 and 2 and... Okay, we've made it to week 4. Here's example 12. This is an A2 that was composed it was designed to fit over chord changes, so if you have a recording device or a looper, I think it's really helpful to hear this over some changes. But in any event, it's a really nice, almost kind of like a violin etude. It incorporates directional picking, cross picking, some string skipping, alternate picking, of course, and it starts out in C minor and then moves to C major. So let's give it a shot here. Example 12. 1, 2, 3, and... All right, now for the final example for our weekly workout. Example 13 features a very simple 1-4-5 progression in C minor, and this example integrates some pull-offs to open strings as well as some different slurs. And you can experiment with articulation throughout these examples, particularly this one, by integrating pull-offs, hammer-ons, some slides, different slurs, or alternate picking, so there's different ways of just practicing this one example. So let's give it a shot. Here we go. 1, 2, 3, and 4, and...